Wyatt is a MAGA caller from Florida. Wyatt, you are on the line with Jimmy and Jovan. How are you, Wyatt?
I'm doing good. My night's going good. You?
Just peachy. It looks like you're calling in regarding the Epstein files, which I assume you want to release.
Yeah.
Good.
So then what I'm confused about.
Can you go find my writing tablet and bring it in? Remember, I was drawing stuff for you. It's probably in the kitchen, if you wouldn't mind. So you do want to release the Epstein files. I'm curious. It says you're calling in to explain that both sides are defending the files. What does that mean?
I think both sides are ran by billionaire and corporate pedophiles that are compromised by Israel to protect Epstein. Because frankly, they run the government.
So what are the two sides, are you saying? The Republicans and the Democrats?
Democrats and Republicans.
All right, fair enough.
Republicans.
Okay.
And in what ways do you see Democrats defending the files?
I mean, frankly,
Thanks so much.
performative, and like they haven't had as much, like for me at least, because I view stuff on Twitter. I hang out on X, so I kind of like view stuff, and I haven't. When the release, like when the whole file thing came out, and then like the Senate started forming on Republicans with the Republicans, I didn't see much. I didn't see many of the Democrats talking about it either. And
how many Democrats voted on the resolution to release it?
Yeah, I know they had that, but besides that, I mean,
well, what do you mean besides that?
Hey, I'm on a call.
Oh,
hold on. Yo, hold on a sec. No, I'm on a call. Hold on.
I guess it's Wyatt's show now.
Put it down.
I'll just
I am on the phone. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I hope that wasn't like a partner or something.
It's just my mom. It's like I'm just
talk to your mother like that.
Like, well, because she's pissing me off. I was like, what the fuck? I'm on the phone. She's like, I'm like, Ma, there's people, like, come on, have some respect.
She said, this is your space, dude. This is your area. She can't talk to you like that, bro. She can't speak to you like that.
Wyatt, how old are you?
20.
20, all right. All right, Wyatt's 20. We're back now that he has handled the situation with his mom. All right, so yeah, the Democrats overwhelmingly voted for the resolution. Many of them have been vocal, and right now they are currently waiting for the government to be not even reopened, just for Mike Johnson to do his job so that they get the vote in that will force it. And that has actually been a large part of why they have been trying to push. So you're saying like it's all performative. Literally all they can do is be performative because they don't control any of the avenues of government. So I don't know how you would break through that definition of performative. Like, are you mad none of them have been arrested trying to assassinate someone? Like what? But even if so,
no, I wish they had the same energy as the Groypers. Where's like the mass protest to release the Epstein files? Honestly, from both sides.
Where's the
again? What do you want? Wait. What do you want them to do more than voting to release it?
As far as and even asking for the mass protest.
Voting obviously ain't working. But protest? We need the media talking about it constantly, 24/7. We need people talking about it 24/7.
Do you mean like the press conference that Dems and Republicans held like on the steps of the Capitol to say, hey, we need to release the Epstein files?
Or the No Kings protest where like 30% of the signs were released the Epstein files.
Why? Here's a bigger question.
I feel like the No Kings protest should be 100% release the Epstein files.
Great. That's how you feel. But there are other people with other interests in this country who are getting fucked differently than you perceive you're being fucked. And so the ways in which the No Kings, unfortunately right now, we have to worry about the actions the pedophile in chief is doing right now more than the actions he did in the past. However, that doesn't mean we should let go of the actions the pedophile did in the past. Who did you vote for, by the way? It says here you are MAGA.
I didn't vote because like this would have been my first election, and honestly, I didn't know that I actually had to like sign up, like register. But originally, before like the whole Epstein fiasco, I kind of like I held because like social, I guess like socially or culturally I'm right, but economically I'm left.
Well, you were praising the Groyper, so I feel like you think that you're socially right, but economically left the way a person in 1930s Germany might have considered themselves that way if by economically left we restricted to a very limited group of people. That said, Wyatt, so right now, who do you associate yourself with more? If you had to vote right now for Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris, who would you vote for?
Neither.
But if you had to, you have to pick one.
You know, honestly, I just can't. I wouldn't vote for either because I feel like neither sides really have our interest. Because like one is ran by billionaires and the other gets corporate backing.
I think it should be 100% about exposing the potential pedophiles in government. But if it came down to it, I wouldn't be able to pick between the person who appears to be one of those pedophiles and a woman who would have held status quo. Like, that's a wild set of values you got there, bud. If it needs to be 100% about the pedophile, why does it not need to be 100% about the pedophile when it comes time to vote?
Because at least in my mind, by proxy, Kamala, let's say she took power, like let's say she came as president, by proxy, I feel like she would have gone the same way, inadvertently protecting the pedos.
I think Kamala Harris, I think the Epstein files would be out right now. Not to mention Donald Trump has been pardoning and embracing pedophiles and making pedophiles feel safer in this country right now. And you wouldn't have had that with Kamala Harris. You can sit there and go, I just believe that would be, but not based on patterns or fact or anything historically. I just believe that is the case because I have that vibe. But the actual information we have available doesn't agree with your vibe there.
I mean, I guess if it was life and death, I mean, sure, I'd make a compromise and go with Kamala.
Kind of is
Wyatt, why did you tell the screener that you're MAGA then? Are you MAGA?
I kind of used to be. There's only like some policies that I kind of agree with, like enforcing the immigration policies. So I think there could be some work that can be done. Like, for example, like, sure, we should get rid of illegals, but at least treat them with some form of dignity. And obviously, like, enforcement of, like, drugs, like, getting rid of those, stuff like that.
Why should we, quote unquote, get rid of illegals?
I mean, when you think about it, corporations just use illegals as cheap slave labor. So when they're inevitably deported, they just replace them.
So then why shouldn't we make it so that the way they have legal working rights in the country instead, so they can't be used for cheap labor?
Well, I think we should, it's not really a matter of like immigration, but more so like we should be going after the corporations that treat them like that. Because honestly, I mean, despite how they treat immigrants, they treat Americans just as bad. Why should I, as an American worker, have to struggle to find a job and get paid like bottom of the barrel minimum wage, and like I can't even work like a livable wage and stuff like that?
They always get close to the right problem, and then they just
are you applying?
You're like, so raise the minimum wage.
True. Are you applying for any of the emptied out agriculture jobs? Or have you applied for any of those?
No, because I don't like the state where I live in. There's like agricultural jobs, but they're like way out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, okay. So then
I don't have the money to like go and rent.
What job? What did you say, Jimmy?
I lived in Florida. That's not true. You can pick oranges anywhere in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in Florida right now.
Fields are dead, man.
I'm in Florida right now, and I'm telling you that's not true.
That died. A lot of the fields that died are being mowed over for development and stuff like that.
Hold on, Wyatt. What is stopping you? What jobs are these people, quote unquote, taking that's making it so that you are having trouble finding it? Okay, so they're not taking a job.
It's not that they're taking. It's more so like it's annoying as fuck that I have to spend hours and hours each day trying to apply for a job and hear nothing back. But
What?
you know,
Yeah, but
someone that's like,
wait.
say, an illegal or an immigrant can like get it like instantaneously. Annoying as
What do you
fuck.
mean? That's not happening.
Have you applied? Yeah, it is, dude. I've applied to hundreds of jobs. Like,
You're
I've
not
probably
getting,
put out just
we're
this
not
month.
saying we're not saying
put out
you're
this
not
month.
failing to get a job. We're saying your conclusion that it's because the immigrants are getting it is
I'm
wrong.
not saying it's a conclusion of the immigrants. I'm saying it's a symptom of corporations that realize that they can hire people that will work for less for more hours, and that they will take those kinds of people every day to essentially drive them as slave labor instead of paying an American a livable wage and workable hours. Because
What do you think the solution to this is? What do you think the solution? Okay, what's the solution? How do we fix this?
I think, honestly, like, my solution economically across the board, I feel like we need a hard reset, like almost go back to like near colonial time, like small economies and rebuild them. But basically taking
Colonial
all the
times.
wealth, the money from like the super rich and corporations and like using it for like things that actually benefit us, like revitalizing our infrastructure.
So you're in favor of like higher corporate taxes, higher individual taxes on people earning over like exorbitant amounts. You're in favor of those sort of things.
I
just noticed,
guess,
by the way, Jimmy, I
at
just
least
noticed
for
we're both
this
looking
economy
down.
as it is right now, yes. But as I said, like, my idea is like we should just do a hard restart and just go back to like a colonial economy and go and start building up from there again.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? What do you mean when you say colonial economy? What do you specifically mean by that? I'm a little lost.
The economies back then were a lot smaller, and obviously, really, like, the only people that really had any sort of money at the time were like importers.
How do we make our economy smaller without making our country smaller? Our economy has to fit 300 million people into it. So how do we make it smaller?
It's more so, I would say it's more so like a theoretical that I had, but
it is a funny theoretical.
As for the logistics of making things smaller,
colonial economies worked for a very, very small group of people. How did the people who were not in the in-group work in those colonial economies? How well did they do economically?
I would also argue colonial economies only really worked the way they did because, you know, they had a really cheap labor force.
Right. That's kind of my point. Is like colonial economies, we're talking about going back to
I meant something somewhere near, only really the size of a small economy, but then again, like I said, it's only really my theoretical that could use some editing work.
No, that's fine. I'm just confused about how we get to a smaller economy without shrinking the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it, but that's why I said really that's more so only my theory, at least how it would work in my head.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand that that's what you're telling us is like this is how it would work for you, but this seems to be something you're pretty. If you were to label your political affiliation, what would you label it? Like, what would you like? Me and Jimmy, for instance, we're both leftists. I'm a communist. I don't know if Jimmy's hit full commie yet, but like I'm a communist to like fully like out there. Like, what is your political affiliation?
I really don't know. Because like I said, there's stuff like, I guess if I really had to pinpoint it, I'm really just like a centrist, I guess.
Okay, roll with me on.
If I were to generalize it as a whole, as centrist, so.
Okay, let's roll with a little bit of a thought experiment, right? Let's say I have an idea for the way the economy runs, and I just want to know what you think about it. Okay, so think of like a factory. Like let's roll with like a factory, and I apologize if this takes a little bit, but I think this is really important to walk through. So let's say we have a factory in like a small town, right? It used to be that like we had factory towns, right? So you had really good industrialization in the US, and then you had factories that employed basically the whole town. Those factories like helped keep other businesses afloat. They helped keep things like Little League stuff like that. Now, in our current system, that factory can like upend itself. It can move out of country. It can do whatever it wants. You would be like, this is bad, right? The fact that the factory can have all these people relying on it in a small town and then just like peace out and with no care to the workers and everything, you would agree this is sort of bad. This is part one of the hypothetical. Okay, great. I am total agreement with you. Now, let's say that same thing. Let's say the factory was run by the people in the town. Like the people in the town controlled that factory. They would never send it out of country. They would realize they need it. The community needs it. And even if it might shrink profits a little bit, it would still be beneficial for them to keep the factory running because of all the extra stuff the factory does for the community. You would agree that probably a better system than the company that can just shift the factory wherever would be letting the people who work there be the ones that like sort of get the say in what happens to the factory and everything, right?
Well, that feels more like a communist land, and I'm not communist.
I'm not. It's not communist. Wait, hold on, Wyatt. I'm not labeling it anything. I'm saying, should the people who work there, the people that are actually earning the money, right? Because it's not the people who run the company who live in a completely different state and making these decisions. They're not the one making it. The money is being made by all of the people that are spending grueling hours every day earning this money. Should the people that are doing that, who are actually doing the hard work, earning the money, should they have ultimate say on how this business moves, especially if the business is so vital to their community?
I would say 50-50, yes and no, to a degree.
50-50. Okay, why would you say that the people who are in charge currently, who you don't like, who you say are greedy, who are ruining essentially everything per the way that you're describing it, why should they have the say?
Here's the way that I put it. So with your analogy, like the workers like deciding everything. So obviously, like for business, there's more to it than what goes on. There's logistics, right? So the way that I see it, I mean, as a worker working on the field, like working on the factory floor, you may not be 100% aware of everything that's going on. So
sure, but again,
I would say like the idea, like you'd have your workers, like your laborers, and then above that you'd have like say worker appointed, worker appointed committee that's more in touch, in touch with both the workers and what's going on with the rest of the logistics of the company. And then at the top you'd have
Hold on, Wyatt, hold on. The workers would collectively get together. They would vote, right? Because they want to make sure everybody is heard, right? So they'd vote in like sort of like a chairman, and that person would be someone they trust to make these larger decisions for them. So that way they don't get screwed over by the corporate owners, and they have people that are worker focused helping the business and making sure that the community survives and the workers survive.
I guess in a sense, yeah. Instead of one
that's council communism.
Like you're a communist.
I was going to say, some kind of like unity organization, unization.
At the very least, that's socialism, but you just described council communism, like to a T. I should know because I am a council communist. That's what council communism is.
Why? What is socialism?
I still believe what?
What is socialism?
Socialism is economic. It's an economic, but in some cases, economic political system. But the best way to put it, at least from my understanding, is socialism is, I guess, like capitalism, but with safety social nets that.
No, that's just capitalism. That's just capitalism. Capitalism with safety social nets is just capitalism.
Okay.
Slightly better capitalism, but this is why we're in the place we're in, is because you've fallen for, as you were sitting here going like the left and right, they both serve Israel, and it's kind of like billionaires, and you're like, you figured this out. You figured it out for the Epstein files, but not everything else, because the American left and right don't really exist. they're both on the right because they're both serving billionaires. So against the billionaire's interest is where you would find the actual left, the not capitalist interest. And it's funny because you find yourself anti-billionaire but a capitalist. Nope.
Yeah, because I still want to buy stuff. Like, my viewing is like, if someone wants to start up a business, and make money for themselves, or actually like make it big and become a millionaire, I think they should be allowed to do it. But obviously there should be strings attached, like mad taxes, and
it shouldn't be able to happen. It's like, it's funny because you'll say other things in the same conversation and not realize they're contrary. So like, before you were complaining about the exploitation of workers, but only in as much as I guess it actually hit you. Whereas like worker co-ops in things like businesses in a more socialist model prevent that worker exploitation, give people those protections. And so you get a job and the immigrant gets a job, and there aren't people going around whining about how the illegals are harming them. It's just funny because it's like you sat here and you've addressed, it's kind of like incels kind of do it too. And I'm getting the vibe that you kind of chill in the Groyper area. So maybe you've seen it happening on the incel side too, where an incel will start with a thing that actually, they'll articulate a thing that actually is true or somewhat true. But then their solution and their conclusion to it is the antithesis of what would be useful. And I feel like you're here too, where you're like, billionaires are the problem. That's true. But never will you take away capitalism, which literally is dependent on exploitation. It is what you're describing as the bad things are because of capitalism. Like it is a capitalist society that would.
It's not all bad. Every system has its ups and downs.
Yes, but it's worse. It's like democracy. Democracy sucks, but everything else.
I mean, I want to buy my Xbox low key.
Nobody.
Yeah, Xbox for PC. I'm gonna buy it.
Get an Xbox.
Hey, really quickly. Why are PlayStation 4s rising in price right now? Or PlayStation 5, sorry. Why are like PS5s and Xbox? No, it's not scalpers. Currently, they're rising in price because of
scalpers started buying them all up.
He's talking about MSRP. He's talking about MSRP, not your access personally.
The scalpers were able to grab stuff and raise prices because COVID fucked up supply chains. But now that supply chains are evening out, why are the prices still rising?
Because the normies and NPCs will still buy them regardless of the price.
Please don't that is the like. Did you just unironically call someone an NPC? Like, what the fuck? Are we in fucking like dead ass?
How do you figure out?
Normies and NPCs will buy the product at a crazy price and then turn around and complain about how expensive it is. Instead of just waiting for a sale.
That's very funny and ironic.
Why are the billionaire owners of Microsoft and Sony, why are these multi-billion-dollar companies, I actually don't think they're billion, I think they're million, but either way, why are they raising the prices in the first place?
Because people buy it regardless. It's kind of like the whole, don't ask questions, just consume product and get excited for next product.
Okay, you're the one who said you want to still be able to buy your Xbox, remember?
Yeah.
Are you a normie and an NPC?
No.
So it's bad when everybody else wants
one. Call of Duty shop every year.
Who's talking about Call of Duty?
Wait, do you play Call of Duty?
Think about it. Like the consumer has.
Isn't the most widely played version of Call of Duty 3 now?
Like, if they buy constant garbage and complain about it online, but then when the company releases the same thing the next year, just upcharge, and they still buy it and turn around and complain, don't you think the consumer is also partly to blame for buying the same shit product every single time?
No, I think the consumer is propagandized via advertisements and tend to want to buy things like that because it helps them feel some sort of levity in a system that sucks so hard. So like the little dopamine hit they get from like buying something, it helps. Whereas I think the problem is actually on the producers of the product who do not innovate and just release the exact same product over and over again because they think the consumers are stupid.
Well, yeah, it goes both ways because some of the consumers are kind of retarded. If they if I see COD, right?
Wyatt.
Okay, I'm going to use that as like the easiest way to understand. Let's say
Christ. Can you not throw
being
slurs,
released.
my G? At least Jimmy says redacted.
Yeah, I say redacted.
Huh?
Why, we're on YouTube. Why are you trying to get us demonetized by throwing out slurs? I don't even care about the fact that you use them because I already knew that as soon as you started talking.
What slur did I use?
Use the R word just moments ago. That is across the board.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Yeah, I get it. I know there's a lot you don't know. Ask your mom about it. Where did you get your PhD in Vibenomics is what I want to know. Because at this point, we're just listening to a person who's like, that is your economic model. I just feel like it would work this way. And the MPCs and the everything would be... And you are one of these people who hyper focus your own experience and then call other people NPCs and shit when a lot of the answer to your questions is fucking billionaires are exploiting the assholes. If fucking billionaires are exploiting everybody and they are putting them into a system where it's literally like, hey guys, you get fucking nothing and I have everything, but we'll make you feel a sense of reprieve every now and then.
Yeah, because the boomers fucked it up back when they opened up the government.
This new version of the product, which by the way, the old version of the product, we will immediately begin depreciating and they will immediately begin to work less well. And there isn't going to be a longevity to where you're like, I'm not getting left behind on any of this stuff. So as you're sitting there complaining about immigrants, but simultaneously whether or not you can buy your Xbox, I'm sat here and going like, I don't care about what your vibe of the economy is. Go vote against billionaires, vote for leftists, and identify the actual problem. And I do want to ask the people on the right and the people who Wyatt says he was MAGA, he's still like clearly aligning with more right-wing shit. MAGA, the phone number's right there, 33654-32101. Where's the full-throated, honest MAGA person who's like, no, MAGA's great, and here's why. It's clear. Because we're not getting those calls so much these days. We're getting Wyatt who wants to give us his vibe, scream at his mom to leave his room, and then give us the vibe of how he thinks things should go.
I kind of told her I was going to be on a live call. She just doesn't like. It's annoying as fuck when she like doesn't respect what I need to say.
Wyatt, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, dude, it's your space. It's your area, bro.
Wyatt, when it's your mother who it seems you are subsisting off of right now? Why did it need to be? What's that?
I pay her rent and I pay the water bill. I take care of stuff. I do work for her every now and then when I need to.
Can I talk to your mom? Can I ask her about your arrangement and whether or not it meets the burden of your existence?
No, you don't need to be going speaking to family members, dude.
What are you afraid of? It's a public show.
Not that I'm afraid of anything. It's just like you don't need to be going speaking to other people beyond me.
All right. Well, if you're gonna
it's kind of like a private thing between you and me and your other co-host.
I want to validate your claim. You're going to sit there and make a claim. I want to validate your claim. You're saying no, you don't have access to validating your claim. So
it's kind of disrespectful to go into people's personal lives like that.
You're sitting there subsisting off of your mom. Yelling at your mom. It must be that you have to communicate with her.
I pay the water bill, the electric. I try to do what I can to pitch in my part.
How do I validate that?
I can't afford a problem.
Can
I just really quickly? Can I just confirm something? Wyatt, are you a contrarian?
What's that?
It seems like you just keep holding the opposite opinion to whatever me and Jimmy say. Like as soon as we bring up something that we might all agree on, you change your tune. So like you were like F billionaires, we were like F billionaires, and then you changed to but also F the consumer.
I don't like billionaires, but I'm not a full-on communist because both
Why
sides,
not?
Those are the two options.
They're up and down.
Those are the two
options. Wait. Which side has the most? Which side has the most
that could be
downs?
Better, make things better. Like I guess,
which side has the most downs?
Scandinavian countries. What?
Which just really quickly, capitalism, communism. Which side has the most downs?
I think both fucking have a lot of downsides, but they do have
Sure,
their
which have the
upsides. That's why I
most?
said, which has the
Which
most.
one is
I mean,
which one is better?
I would say if I had to put it in a vacuum, capitalism to a degree.
Why is it better?
I mean, economic freedom. I don't have to worry about crazy food shortages like what happened in the Soviet Union.
What happened in the Soviet Union was entirely because of like a natural occurring famine. It wasn't because of like the Soviets
occurring famines, but then there's also a lot of it was because they started to underproduce.
No. The reason. Wait.
About his economic insecurity and saying that's why he likes capitalism. He's not worried about his own. I assume that means he's got rich family or something.
Most communist countries don't even exist anymore.
Hold on, Wyatt. I just want to throw this out there. The reason why the famine in the Soviet Union was so terrible is because when Stalin came in and said, we're going to collectivize grain, so we're going to take all the farms and we're going to like make them nationalized so that way we can feed everybody. The wealthy farm owners said, we don't like this, so we're going to burn all of our crops and then salt our land so nothing will grow here anymore. So then when the famine happened, which was a naturally occurring famine, right? It happened due to nature. They couldn't grow on a bunch of the land because the rich people burned it and salted it as opposed to just letting it be used to feed poor people. But even if you're like, oh, well, there was starvation and there were famines in communism, there were in capitalism. We literally had the Great Depression. We had the Dust Bowl. We lost food by the 10. People were starving.
To overspending right after World War I when we had a massive economy.
The Great Depression wasn't just due to overspending. There was also a massive famine at the time. Food wasn't growing as much.
Hey, at the Snatch Buckler, why don't you call in with that? The Snatch Buckler in chat, where has socialism ever worked? Why aren't you calling in? Why are you putting it in live chat? Call in.
Yeah, you got the expert here. That's me. But again, I just want to point out again, like the if we're talking about like famines, they weren't man-made. Even the famines under Mao weren't man-made. Like famines happen naturally all the time. No, they weren't.
You don't think someone could cause a man-made famine?
I don't think that they did. They purposely were not trying to cause famines. Now, famines happened, and you could make the argument that, like, due to most people would agree, due to policies by like Mao, they had a hard time recovering from the famine, but they didn't cause the famine.
That was the dumbest response back. Like, a lightning bolt hits a house, the house gets set on fire. Wyatt goes, actually, Tom set that on fire. No, it was a lightning bolt.
But due to their policies, they unintentionally cause famines.
In what world do you think you got to talk while I'm in the middle of talking? That's fucking wild, dude. You've done it a bunch. I like that at least for the first time, you're a clearly Groiper caller who, usually if I have somebody else with me who isn't a cishet white male, they get talked over more. You're talking over me more this time, which is kind of at least refreshing. It's pretty silly here, Wyatt, because you're basically saying your argument, I just want to point out, was that it was a man-made famine. And then what, you don't think a person can cause a man-made famine? As though we're saying that a house was lit on fire and we saw the lightning bolt light it on fire. We have all the data that shows the lightning bolt lit it on fire. And you say, no, Tom did it. We go, no, it was a lightning bolt. It was natural. You don't think a person can light a house on fire? That's literally what you did. It's not impressive. It's a terrible, shitty way to argue. Anyway, for some reason, I'm unmuting you.
Okay, then. Well, I would...
Holy shit, he really did call back. That's crazy.
What?
Why?
Oh.
Nothing. I noticed something.
Loki, can I just say my last part? I would be more on board with your ideas if you weren't such passive-aggressive fuckwads. Loki, should be on board with you. You guys weren't so fuck.
All right, so I muted you again. Wyatt, I'm going to unmute you. So what you're saying is your vibes and your feelings. You'd be more on board with us because you're recognizing that we have facts on our side. By the way, passive-aggressive isn't when you directly tell them how stupid they are. Learn what passive-aggressive is, please. I'm begging you. But Wyatt, you're sitting here going, I'd be on board because you have the facts, but you're hurting my feelings too much. So in your world, you care more about your feelings than the facts. Is that true?
Actually, Common agreed with you. I would have actually agreed with you if you weren't being the way you were.
Okay, great. Well, continue to live your life with your feelings at the absolute forefront and try and be nicer to your. And Wyatt, try and be
This is why you're a small channel, bro.
Fuck off. This is why you're a small channel, bro. I hung up on him, but I wish I hadn't because I would have loved for him to hear. Small channel, 350,000 subscribers on just this channel, over 1 million views a month. And we got there we went from like, because this channel existed before, we went from like averaging 3,000 to 4,000 views a month on just my old catalog to 1 million views a month in under 45 days. So anyway, small channel. How's your channel doing? Wait, let me ask your mom. let me ask Wyatt's mom how his channel's doing.
Damn it, Mom, I'm trying to debate.
Come on, Mom, what are you doing? Oh, man, I don't know what passive aggressive means, and that's why I'm going to keep voting like a little fascist.